Guten Abend. Well, I had the opportunity of taking a look at Ride Along with Mr. Kennedy Bulldall as his guest. And I had to say, I appreciated so much that Mr. Kennedy Bulldall had to say. I've always had a level of respect for the man for more reasons than one. But the gentleman was spot on about a lot of what he has said. And I believe every upper echelon of the three different political parties, the NDC, the NNP, and the DPM, I hope they've had an opportunity to take a look at the interview with Mr. Kennedy Bulldall, because he offered a lot of insights into the political landscape currently. And some would have not liked to hear what he had to say. But the gentleman, as usual, he's a sort of shoot from the hip, gunfighter kind of guy like I am. So he tells it as it is. And if you can't accept that, then that's your problem. But anyway, on a more serious note, the gentleman, again, was spot on. I suggest that the three parties take a look at what he said, okay? And they can get some valuable insights into adjusting their strategies for the upcoming election, okay? He might have been a little more supportive of the NDC, and I understand why. And in some respects, he may have valid reasons for doing so, because the incumbent generally has a little edge on the other parties. Okay, so I understand that. And he also offered some pointers in terms of strategic approach that the NNP should be using if they want to advance their political platform and offer a serious challenge in the upcoming elections to the NDC. Even if you're not interested in listening to his pointers and strategic approach, I think there's just value, overall value, in just listening to what the man has to say. Even if it's just to say, look, he pointed this out, and guess what? We are already doing this, or we plan to do this in terms of youth involvement, in terms of something to offer to the youth and stuff like that. So even just in that sense, there is value in looking at what he said. I trust and I hope that the relevant parties concerned will probably do so. Now take a look at this also. There's someone, I guess, that must have been a little disgruntled with what he had to say and tried to say that, he's probably favoring the NDC. But I like how the gentleman handled it. Okay? So take a look at this.
So with all the night talking given there, those surprised Kennedy might go back to the NDC sooner. That's the talk on the street.
Well, he could hear you and you could hear him. So Kennedy, you could respond to him. You could conversate with him.
Yeah, boy, the man lying on me like that, who tell him I want to join NDC? I'm a supporter. I'm an advocate for the movement. You understand? I am one of the chief spokesman on platform for the movement. I have a lot of friends in NDC. I'll pick up the phone and engage Brother Tevin Andrew. They call him my political son. Pick up the phone and engage Sister Delma Thomas. I have a lot of respect for. We are friends. But I'm not a supporter of the NDC. I don't vote for NDC, I'm voting for the movement. But my friends are real friends in NDC. You understand? They respect my position, I respect the position.
And here it comes. The gentleman persists and tries to throw some additional shade on Mr. Kennedy Bulldall. But wait for it, it's coming. You'll like his response.
Being on all the parties, we expect anything from you at any time, So that's why I want to put that.
No, but between and you're right. You're right. Normally, and don't stay in political party long. Is either they kick me out or I jump out. Because I already said, I'm not prepared to sign contract with no political party. If you want to stay in NDC until you're dead, I don't jealous you. Those who want to stay in NNP until they're dead, I don't jealous them. But don't ask me to sign political. You see, and that's what I was saying. Some people will iconize Dr. Deacon Mitchell. Some people will idolize him.
And there it is, not surprisingly, a man of guts who is not afraid to speak the truth. And he talks about the idolization of Deacon Mitchell. And he'll go on to talk about idolization of other leaders and how deadly those consequences were. Listen to what he has to say.
So if he make mistake, they don't see the mistake. and they will stay with him until they're dead. Same thing with Kit Mitchell. Some people, worship Dr. Mitchell, and all the mistake Dr. Mitchell making, they can't see the mistake. They defending him. Bishop makes so much mistake. People still defend him because they idolize him. But not me. I ain't signing no contract with them. When politicians make the mistake, them alone must go down in the precipice. Those who love Bernard Code, they make 30-something years in jail with him. Those who love Bishop, they die with him on the fort. I don't jealous them. I don't jealous them. That is their choice. But don't ask me to stay with them. I prefer to be a counter-revolutionary than to die with Bishop on the fort, or to go and spend 40 years with Bernard Code in the prison. I'm a proud counter-revolutionary. I oppose their policy and their behavior. So those who like them, go and deal with Bishop on the fort. Those who like Code, make the jail with them.
And there it is. In that aspect, I believe the gentleman and I are cut from the same cloth. Okay? Because we are willing to stand up against what we perceive as things that are being done that are not in the collective interest of the people of Grenada, okay, and that are detrimental to the survival of the people of Grenada. So it's like when I spoke about the seven-headed dragon and the Toronto faction and the propagandist wing of the NDC thereof, and sort of said that was the headquarters of operation. Now, one of their friends, who I know also, kind of contacted me via social media and tried to throw a little shade, and he got a little defensive. And I said to him, and I saw through him right away. So I said to him, hey, I know where you're going. And I also said to him, I said, look, I am going to continue to do what I'm doing because it's important, okay? And if there was someone in the past that did what I did, guess what? Just maybe some of the fatal mistakes that were made would not have been made, okay? Whether it be someone internally or externally. So I said, don't expect me to back down or stop from doing what I'm doing. And of course, he knows me very well. So he sort of got the message that I was sending very clearly. So listen to what Mr. KB has to say concerning that occurrence at the Brooklyn Town Hall. And as many others, Mr. Bulldog would have seen what occurred. So listen what he has to say on the matter.
The only thing, I look at the section in New York. It's something I didn't please about when the guy tried to ask maybe a fairly difficult question, and I know the Prime Minister, Deacon Mitchell, capable of answering it. But it gives me the impression the people up there were so protective of the Prime Minister, and they fear you shouldn't ask him difficult question. That's a strange, and I didn't like the what took place there, and I feel the Prime Minister should really owe that gentleman an apology. The
Prime Minister did come back and he allowed the question to ask and answer.
No, I agree. But I say he should make an apology to the man for the behavior of the people who behave like ram goat up there. You understand? The man asked a simple, logical question. You spend $20 million. How the money spent? That's a little question for the Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell to answer. And I know he could answer the question. But you're asking yourself why the NDC was so protective of him and give the impression that question too hard for the Prime Minister. You understand? And it looked bad on the side. That is what I'm saying. That is the level of arrogance they had to avoid, because the base alone cannot win an election. You have to depend on independent-minded voters and defenders. But when you behave in such arrogant manner, you could drive away the independent-minded voters. That is that is point I want to raise. They could feel so confident. They could feel so invincible that they don't need other people.
And you see, for you overarching arrogant, sometimes ignorant people. This is what I was trying to tell you guys. So when you saw me came hard at a couple of you guys, that's the reason why. Because I want the integrity, okay? The values-based aspect of politics in Grenada to be lifted, okay? So that is why I came so hard at you guys. And in some respects, I must say, we've seen a little minute improvement. There's a lot of way to go, but we've seen minute improvements. So even KB is telling you guys, with that sort of attitude, and I said that to you guys in the past, that in some respects, some of you may do more harm than good. Okay? And KB throughout his session with Ride Along, he warned about the quote-unquote operatives within the parties. Be careful what you say, because you could drive people away. And the people I went after, I thought they were reckless and out of line and overarching with their disrespect to Grenadian people. And of course you understand that we at the Grenada Social Democratic Party, we see ourselves as the defenders of the Grenadian people, irrespective of party. Okay? We see ourselves as the defenders of Grenadian people. So that is why we came so hard against your recklessness. But there is an experienced politician, an experienced man, telling you exactly what I have said to you. But I'd also like to thank you, Mr. KB, for advocating for some sort of apology on my behalf. But I want to tell you that I'm satisfied. I'm at peace with the situation. Because in some respects, what was intended for arrogance and ignorance turned out to benefit the Grenadian people and myself handsomely. Okay? Because the Grenadian people got a commitment from the Prime Minister that the Ministry of Finance would have actually exposed to the Grenadian people how that money was spent. You guys locally now have to hold them accountable. Okay? Instead of worrying about all this donkey and horse and all that nonsense, as Mr. KB said, and I have thoroughly dealt with the donkey situation, okay? But instead of worrying about that, you should refocus on the promise made by the Prime Minister to expose, okay, or to let the Grenadian people know how that $22 million was spent on Polaris thus far. And all they have to show is a 15% concept plan. This is something that you should refocus to, okay? And Mr. KB, we also got the Prime Minister admit what we've been saying for months, okay? That the shenanigans of a groundbreaking was exactly what it was. Because he said he did it because he didn't want people to believe that actually he was not doing anything on Polaris, okay? So the Grenadian people won on that issue. The few people that acted arrogant and reckless, and it was a few, because again, I'm going to say, I'm not going to castigate all the people who were at the town hall, because many of them were very civil. As a matter of fact, some of these people are people I know. I stuck around for about an hour after the town hall, okay? So I could engage and have conversations with some of my friends. And some of them didn't appreciate what went down. So again, thank you, Mr. KB, for advocating on my behalf, but I'm at peace without an apology. It would be nice, but without one, I am at peace because I knew I was there advocating for the Grenadian people and we got the intended results. Okay? And again, just to educate the people who were there and who displayed that level of arrogance, I want them to understand, I will say it again, that you did that in a place where actually is regarded as some sort of hallowed ground. Okay? The auditorium you're sitting in was named after Medgar Evers, one of the most celebrated civil rights activists of all time in America, okay? Who advocated for civil rights and the right to speak and lost his life doing that. So when you did what you did in that town hall, you actually disgraced yourselves because you don't understand where you were standing or where you were sitting, and you disgraced the hard work of Medgar Evers. So I hope in some respects that was a learning experience for you guys because you didn't do anything good and you thought it was cute, but you didn't do anything good for your party and you actually booed and disgraced yourselves. So again, thank you, sir. It was a wonderful show you had to ride along. It was very informative. And again, I urge many of the parties who are vying for politics and the next campaign and election that it should take a look, because you have provided some very valuable insights to them as to how to proceed and a strategic approach. Okay, we of course at the GSDP will actually incorporate and take some of your valuable ideas. In diesem Sinne, guten Abend.